start the lesson at past, so I'll do a proper introduction then. But today I am going to do a lesson on attacking, because you guys voted for it, so yeah, I'll explain more in a minute. Yeah, I just thought I'd start early, so if you want to get involved in the stream, feel free to say hello, get yourself a drink, in Sam's case, get your notebook out and get ready to rumble. We'll start in 5 minutes. So yeah, I'll just get my chat up, get ready to go. Yeah, I'm hoping that this first stream I'll do today will be semi-professional-ish, and then we'll have a tournament at 7 tonight, so I will be probably streaming then, and I'll be streaming and steaming. I'll probably be drinking then, so I'll be we're trying to play like we're at the Robert Gillow, have a bit of fun, so that will not be good quality chess. This hopefully will be. This will be really good, I hope. I found some nice games. Yeah, maybe I'll just play some Bullet while waiting till we get to half 3. So let's just get onto playing some Bullet while we're waiting for the stream to officially start. Only 1700. Well, watch how slow this is going to be. Let's play the Latvian Gambit. Oh well, my knight's busted. Let's just throw it in there. Hit the queen. My knight's not dead somehow. Let's put it over here. Okay, well we're run. Going after that pawn. It's protected, so we will develop a piece. We check, and then we'll put the bishop back when they play c3. There we go. Oh, I can't castle. That's a shame. Let's play d6. We're just looking for any development here. I can't really commentate on Bullet as it's too fast, and my chess that I'm playing is just pure rubbish. So I'm just doing whatever. Okay, so we're a pawn. That's just weird. I'm never a pawn. I'm gonna throw. Oh, I'm gonna throw my queen over here, so I can develop my bishop. I'll take that with the queen, I think. Okay, just take that off and throw my knight over here. Tap that bishop. Get over here. Okay, bishop's going away. We'll move the bishop, and then we'll castle queenside. Castle queenside. Oh, my knight. This knight is a problem child. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Let's just throw it in. And we'll win the pawn on e2. Okay, and my bishop goes back. So I've got 2 pawns for the piece. I guess that's not terrible. Not great, not terrible. Oh, row. Oh, I can't take that anymore because of the goddamn queen. It's okay, I can now. Aha! Gotcha. Take that. It's alright, I'm not the only person who blunders pieces. Okay, I just blundered my queen. So I guess I am still the person that blunders pieces. Ah, knight! Ah! Time! It's okay, I've pinned it. I'm just going to get it, and then I'll pin the bishop as well and grab that. Ah! Bugger. Run. Block the check, hit the rook. Yes! Oh, it's a bit of high stress stuff to start the stream. I'll play one more Bullet game because they're only 2 minutes, and then we will start the lesson. You can see it's in the second tab, hidden away, nice for you. I've actually prepped something, so it won't be on the fly like my Dutch lesson was, which is quite nice. Okay, I might have to start thinking a little bit here. Hit that knight. Move the knight. Yeah, I've actually prepped something rather than just doing it as I go with like the Dutch one that I did. Oh, I can't play that. Let's play it here. Britain, mate. Let's push the F pawn. Just drop my queen. Yep. Okay, well, I'll leave it there. I'll just literally wait for a minute. So I'll only start at 30, and then I will do a proper introduction and a lesson for you. If you're in the stream, say hello. It will be quite nice to see if anyone's watching. If not, I'm hoping you're watching this later. watching it back, studying really hard. So good luck to you for that. Yeah, you can probably also access my study on Lichess, so if you do want to look at that, feel free. I don't know if it's set to public or not, but we'll look at that afterwards. Come on, clock, hit 3:30 so I can introduce this. I'm quite excited. I'm excited for this stream. Because I'm worried I'll get found out. Because this is how I'll teach you basically how I like to play chess. So hopefully all of you won't just start hammering me after I tell you how I play. Come on, clock. Come on, clock. You can get to half past. I believe in you. Okay, we're at half past. So, hello, and welcome to my lesson, my attacking stream that you asked me to do. So I'm doing it for you. Let's get rid of that. Here is our lesson. So I'm going to be doing the basics of attacking, trying to add stuff to your attacker's toolbox. Lots of people generally go on about like tactics and stuff like that. So I'll do a bit of tactics. But what I'm going to go for is long-term strategy, a plan that you can implement in your own games. I've done it before. I used to play some of the openings that I'm going to go through. We're going to feature this setup that you can see in front of you with the bishop and the rook. We're going to go on to a game by AlphaZero, a very important game in my chess development. Then we're going to obviously go on to pushing our h-pawn and g-pawn because they are the most important pawns. Everyone knows this. We'll have a very nice game about pushing a g-pawn, and then we have a very, very nice game from Simon, who does very similar to the AlphaZero game, so just so you can see a human playing it. And then I might do some rapid play afterwards, but I'm not too sure. And then I'll stop streaming, give myself a break, and then we'll get on to the Robert Gillow stream tonight. Okay, so without any more messing around, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to focus on attacking the castle king, so you can see here we've castled. So the weakest pawns generally on the castle king are your g and h pawns. You can guess why, but generally when you castle, the rook and the king protect the f pawn. So sometimes it is nice to pin the f pawn with a bishop here on this diagonal, but generally the weakest pawns are the g and h pawn. Sometimes you'll have a knight on f6, which is protecting the h pawn. So that's generally why I think we have gone for this setup against the g-pawn. So quite often you will want to be building up attacks which you'll just try and get pieces close to the king generally. Just throw your knights over here, throw your queen in front of the king, set up mate threats, whatever. But a long-term strategy is something that you should be thinking about from the opening. So you should be thinking about getting your bishop and your rook. Not all the time, but sometimes you might want to set up like this. Trying to get your bishop on this nice long diagonal and your rook working with it. These two work very well together on these open lines to attack the king. So this is something you'll be wanting to think about from move one. So this is generally strategy rather than tactics. You're thinking about plans rather than individual attacking moves. So this is something that I often think about. So you're just trying to get pieces in there. You're trying to get them attacking the king. So let's see. Probably my favourite game actually, because I bought the AlphaZero book Game Changer. I haven't got it with me unfortunately, I think it's still at Lancaster, but I have managed to find the game that I really want to talk about. So let's dive straight into it. So yeah, this is the game that convinced me to switch to playing the English rather than playing e4, which seems mental because, but it showed me that you don't have to attack from move one. You build into a steamroller attack, slowly but steadily. So let's go. So we've got knight f3, knight f6, very standard, and English, so ready, same difference. e6, pretty common reply. Oh yeah, sorry, this is AlphaZero versus Stockfish in their second round of games. So I've read the analysis from Matthew Sadler, and I've tried to put some of that as well as my own notes in here. So you can read the study after we finish the game, but I'm going to go through it now. So you're getting this DVD for free with the video course. Okay, so we have e6, knight c3, and developing the bishop here is often a way to try and swap for the knight to try and mess up pawn structure. So we have queen c2. Queen c2 is probably one of the reasons why I switched to this, because you don't see the English. You see the English play quite a lot with sort of a Sicilian style structure. AlphaZero doesn't do that. Although I now play the Botvinnik system, which does, but that's because I'm a human. Queen c2 is good because while it stops this minor positional threat of swapping the bishop for the knight and messing up the pawns, it's also looking at h7, which is a very, very important square for us. We always want to look at h7 and go for those mate threats. Okay, so black castles. a3, we're making black decide, what are you going to do with this bishop? Bishop takes, queen takes, because we've put the queen there to take back. A5, interesting move, trying to basically get some space on the queen side. B4, we're saying we're going to get space as well. D6, it's a bit of a weak development, I guess, but you want to put, I guess, trying to push E5. E3, it's kind of taking things away from this square and getting ready to push D4. Got knight E4, queen back to our nice aggressive square, hitting the knight. Knight G5, B5. Now this, I should have, I'm going to award this an exclam, because this is a good move. So what we're doing here is we're blocking up the queen side here, because you would want to try and open this. So long term, Alpha Zero is thinking about castling queen side. Even though you push the pawns in front of your king, we're trying to block it up. And more importantly, we are allowing the following capture. This is the key idea here. So already we've seen this diagonal is open, and the open file for the rook. Our king is safe. Like, some of you might be worried about a ruined pawn structure here, but don't worry about it. You've got all your central pawns. That's fine. You actually, this pawn is not even a weakness. You're just opening up the G file for your rook. That's all it is. Your king is safe. Do not worry. Like a lot of players, especially lower down that I've seen, will just threaten just to take here to ruin your pawn structure. Just allow it. Just allow them to do it. They think that it's a good plan, but it's not. It's stupid. It is not a good idea a lot of the time. I mean, in an endgame, fine, ruin pawn structures, but at the opening, it doesn't matter. You're just giving me an extra F pawn to throw up the board. You're opening my G file early on, and you've castled into it. So this is probably the reason why I love this game so much, because Alpha Zero is just like, yeah, mess my pawn structure up, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I love it. Okay, so Queen F6, hitting the rook. I'd probably be tempted to play Bishop B2 here. I think that's fine, but it just encourages E5, which is not fine. We don't want them to play E5, because E5 blocks up our lovely diagonal. So D4, boom, we are controlling the look at that, that's a lovely central control. And our F pawn, whilst a bit dodgy, I mean, it's not protected by anything, but you'll see why. We're blocking up the diagonal a little bit, and we're allowing our bishop to be developed, and we've claimed the centre. We've got loads of space. Alpha Zero loves space, and it's something you should definitely think about. Like, attacking fine, but generally you want to consider, you like space. You want to have space in chess. So Queen takes F3. Oh no, we lost our F pawn. Whatever do we do? You're forcing our rook to the square we want to put it on. I mean, I don't really care, but like, I love that, like, we've just sacrificed a pawn that we'd already, like, in the opening on move 12 in a computer game. We've just sacrificed a pawn just so we can put our rook on G1. That's what it is. That's all it is. So we've already getting this attacking setup going, which Alpha Zero loves to play in a lot of its games. So we're getting our rook already in line with the king. We're thinking about long-term pressure rather than like long-term compensation for this pawn. So it's often a good idea to just give up a pawn for pressure and attack, and adjust it for a long-scale attack with our bishop and rook on these key squares. It's a good motif to always have in the back of your toolbox. So knight d7, developing a knight, trying to get our knight over to f6, because the f6 knight is a very good defensive piece. Bishop e2, let's kick the queen away. We don't like the queen here, let's get rid of it. Queen f6, dropping it back, fair enough. Bishop b2, and now we have the setup. We've reached the setup that Alpha Zero has been striving for from move 1. You've got to think about this. You need to, Alpha Zero, well, it's not thinking about it because it doesn't think like we do, but you can think about it like this. You're trying to achieve this setup long term. Queen h4. I don't understand Queen h4. I think Stockfish is just being greedy. I would try and, well, I guess Queen h4 is also aiming for knight f6 and maybe pushing e5. But Stockfish is going for another pawn in the opening. Like, look at its development. It's got no space. It's a bit cramped, and it's going for pawn grabbing. Rook g4. We're allowing it. Just grab it. Just take carry. Rook g3. Okay, so we're threatening to trap the queen in here. Maybe with like castling, bishop f3, and then rook h1. And this check doesn't really do anything because we just drop the bishop back. Not a problem. Okay, so f5. This is the way of Stockfish trying to stop the queen getting over to h7 and potentially trying to disrupt things. But you've got to realise now this also weakens these two diagonals a little bit. So our long-term plan is a bit more effective. And we castle. So now we're threatening to play bishop f3 and rook h1. Okay, how's this lesson going? Am I speaking too fast? Does it make sense? Or are we just enjoying this really nice game? Because so far nothing crazy has happened. Like Stockfish has grabbed material, which a lot of players do, and all AlphaZero is saying, fine, grab this material. You're opening up lines for my attacking pieces. We're gonna throw our pieces on these files, and you're gonna regret grabbing this material. Oh, Connor's here. Connor's sobering up. Because me and Connor played some awful games last night. Okay, so rook f7. Stockfish is like, oh god, he's realised what's happening. This pawn is under a lot of pressure. And bishop f3. So this is the trap move we've been talking about. Rook is swinging over to h1, and the queen moves because otherwise it's going to get trapped. Rook h1 comes anyway, because free development, isn't it? Hitting the queen, develop your pieces faster and faster and faster, and use these open lines. Queen f6, protecting our queen, and I like this. This is something Garry Kasparov did as well. AlphaZero randomly, well not randomly, 100 to 200. Oh my god, those games are awful. Well, these aren't awful, Conrad. These are GM and computer games, so I'm not playing some crap chess anymore. But what AlphaZero is doing here is, this is not something I expect you to replicate. This is a proper engine move or top level GM move. It's moving its king out of the way and going to tuck it safely on a2 or a1 because they haven't got a dark square bishop. So it's, oh god, haven't got a dark square bishop, so it is quite safe over here. But AlphaZero is just subtly moving its king out of the way, and it's also spotted a weakness on the c file, but we'll see this in a minute. But the king is safe here, so that's what it's doing. But it's a very engine move. Let's just stick to the basic idea of this bishop is looking down here, and these rooks are just powerful on this file. That's all you have to think about. G6, trying to protect against this bit of a weakness here, which is very fair. This is a big brain move because how many of you will have played like rook h-g1 or rook g to h3? Like, that seems very normal, just to pile up pressure on this attacking structure here. But what AlphaZero has realised is it's always going to have this pressure because these pawns are gone, and as long as you have a rook, you're always going to have this pressure. So what it's realised is, I'm going to try and open up the c file now and put pressure on there, which is really high level. And I don't expect you to go and try and do this in your games because it's very, very difficult to play right. But that's what this computer does. A4. So we've already blocked up the pawns in front of our king, so our king's perfectly safe here, even though we've got pawns on b5 and c4. King a1. The defensive play has been reached, so now our king's never getting checked because we've got control of all these squares here, so a queen or rook can't check there, and there's no dark square bishop, so sorry, that's not on the dark square bishop line for black, so our king's very safe. The only thing that could check us is a knight, but how is a knight getting to this square? Like, literally how is, oh my god, we've gone. How, like, literally it's impossible to get a knight to this square. Okay, so rook e7, Stockfish is now basically for the rest of the game is like reduced to sort of shuffling around, trying not to be crushed. Okay, so e4. Okay, time to bust this position open. We need to open lines for our bishop pair and trying to get our rooks attacking properly. Okay, f4. Stockfish literally, you just can't allow this. If you took here, you'd be dead. So, oh, I need to get rid of these lines. There we go. So you can't take here, so Stockfish pushes the pawn. c5. here we go. We're trying to make our weakness. And rook c1. Rook is back here and looking at the c pawn. AlphaZero's realised, well, I've got this, which is nice. My bishop will open up soon, which is also nice, but I kind of want a bit more. I want to throw my pieces in this way and put pressure on this part, so Stockfish is forced to weaken the places that I'm already attacking. It's a similar principle to the endgame idea of the principle of two weaknesses, where you generally, if you've got a weakness in your opponent's position, you try and make a second one to make it harder to defend. It's proper. This is very skillful. Sorry, I'm quite thirsty. Okay, so knight f6, as we said before, our knight on f6 is a very good defensive piece. So we want to protect the h pawn here, and getting the knight there is a good idea. But here we go, boom, e5. Get out of there, knight. We don't care about you anymore. We're busting this position open, and don't worry. AlphaZero knows it's very possible to get our bishop diagonal open, which is what this game is all about, really. It's all about this bishop, because you can't push d5 here because the knight's under attack. So it's perfectly timed d5. D takes rook. Now this is a great move. Rook h to e1. If we take back with the pawn, we block in our bishop. So it's AlphaZero is a positional beast. So it's decided I'm going to take back with the rook. Because if we take with the pawn, our bishop's going to be blocked in, and we don't like that. That's a sad bishop. So we're going to take back with the rook. e4. I think Stockfish is like, oh crap, here we can't really allow the rook to take this. So we're gonna allow it be taken this way, and maybe try and grab the bishop pair. Bishop takes, and queen f8. Taking the bishop is bit scary, really, because the queen takes and then there's pressure on the e6 pawn. We'll be pushing d5 and the bishop will open up, and it's very, very scary. So Stockfish wants to keep his knight defender. d5, I gave this a double exclam, because we finally got our bishop open. It understands that this bishop needs to be opened up, and our rook can always move back to the square we were talking about before, so that's fine. So we've opened our bishop up, giving away another pawn. Literally, like, count the pawns. Like, AlphaZero is just sacrificing all of its pawns. So, yeah, pawns exist to be pushed, and we're breaking it open. I like this move a lot. Pawn takes, and we're just retreating our bishop. Just very calmly saying, yep, well, I've got compensation for all of my pawns. Bishop g4. Just developing a bishop. f3, sacrificing another pawn. You can't take this pawn because this like lines will just open up even more, and then we'll have like 3 open lines in front of the king. It's just scary for black taking this pawn. Stockfish knows this and retreats. Yeah, so I've wrote here, take a moment to look how awful Stockfish's pieces are. So it's got like what? Let's count the pawns. 7 pawns? It's got 7 pawns, so it's 3 pawns up. Generally, you consider that to be you're a piece up, but look at Stockfish's pieces. This bishop is rubbish. This rook is not doing anything. A rook on g7. Why are you putting a rook on g7? It's rubbish. The knight here is probably the only decent piece, but it's got no good squares to go to because of the f-pawn. It's stuck defending h7 because we'll swing that round, but it can't move anyway because it's pinned. Like, yeah, Agudmata would describe this as the bishop pair from hell. Look at them, they're just beasts. And that's why you sacrifice pawns, to open your bishops up for a good, strong attack, which is something that I try and do in my games. I remember that's what switched me to playing the 2 knights defense, if any of you know that. Where you sacrifice a pawn in the opening and at least try and get a good bishop pair. Okay, so c3, yeah, a good old-fashioned mate threat, just there, so you can't move the knight and the queen because you just get mated. Just add pressure, just adding pressure, that's all this is doing. Knight h5, so like hopefully you have to make a move for black. So, and now rook e5, we've finally infiltrated with our rook. I mean this file is good, but now that they've got the rook protecting it, so we forced a weakness, right? Well, that's what this plan has done. It's forced a long-term weakness. So they've played g6, and I guess you can't attack on the g file anymore, but instead we're just going to move our attack somewhere else. And we've kept our bishop on this lovely open diagonal. That's what this is all about. So we're threatening maybe just to even take this and just open up the attack on the h-pawn, but we're also going after the d-pawn. Have to make a move here, I guess. c6. Yeah, you've given up another pawn here. You're just taking it. It's just scary, right? But I mean, it's not giving up properly because you can just take the d-pawn. Knight f6, moving the knight back. Queen d4, pawn takes, bishop b1. Like now you just left your bishops on a very safe square. You've realised, I don't want to swap the knight for the bishop anymore. These bishops are beasts. We're keeping them, and we're just going to keep the pressure on. That's what a lot of strategical attack and a positional attack really is about. You're just trying to keep pressure on. So bishop c6. Now look at this crap bishop. It's just a pawn. It's just a pawn here. Rook e6. We're now just threatening to take. Has to protect. And now we've moved our rook back to the lovely open line, potentially threatening to sacrifice the bishop on g6 with a mating attack. Queen d7. You can't allow this. Queen takes f4. We finally got our pawn back. A pawn. We're still down a load of pawns, but we've only grabbed it so we can open up our bishop and open lines. That's the only reason why we've done it. I don't think knight e4 works here, threatening the queen. Rook e8, rook d6. We've now got our rook on a nice outpost. We're not trading off. Don't trade off. We don't need to trade off here. We're just going to keep the pressure up. Knight e7, it finally works out. So we probably could trade queens, but look at this bishop. It's unleashed now. It's going all the way through. But AlphaZero doesn't want to trade queens. Going back. Rook f6. What? Yeah, f4. I love f4 as well. I gave it an exclam. Because why would you trade this bishop for that rook? I mean, you're pinning the queen, for one, but your bishop is worth more than this rook. Like, it's a beast. This rook is crap. Like, why would you trade it off? So, f4, one of our few remaining pawns, and we're going to use it as a crowbar. We're going to try and break open this this little structure here. That's what I find. I'll talk about it more in the next chapter. But pushing your F, G, and H pawns are basically crowbars to break open the defense. Queen e7, rook takes f6, finally swapping some stuff off. f5, and here's the crowbar. So yeah, I typed incoming crowbar alert. Dangerous pawn. Okay, now Stockfish is like, okay, we just need to trade queens off here, buddy. We're scary. But we finally win back some material with a nice little tactic. Queen takes, and then we take here with check first to win some material, and then we take our queen. And now we have a lovely strong h-pawn protected by our bishop. Yeah, the bishop pair from hell is really looking bad. Yeah, because all we're threatening to do is just put our rook back on the h-file and just take. That's all we're doing. So Stockfish is like, we have to take this pawn, and now, yeah, you have to give up the knight for the h-pawn. Harry's just too good. Yeah, and now it's just a matter of converting this endgame, which is something you've got to think about really when you're attacking. Yeah, just getting the king in now. That's all we're doing. Getting the king in, make sure everything's protected, and black can't afford to trade rooks at all. And now his bishop's overloaded, and black resigned here. So this is yeah. What did I write here? Okay, king is made it in. Black can't hold everything. The bishop on c6 is overloaded. That's this tall pawn from a while ago. It's still a pawn. And I think, yeah, Stockfish said it was +6 for white here. And yeah, white, just because white can make progress while black's just crying in a corner. And we're up a piece. But yeah, this is something that you should think about for attacking. So this plan, even though it was an engine game, just forced Stockfish to make weaknesses and concessions over and over again, and eventually white broke through. Like, if you try it, you're probably going to break through a lot faster because people can't defend as well. But you might not always have mate, so something important to think about when attacking is you might not always get a mate at the end of it. but you'll get a winning position. So you've got to realise when to transform it into a winning endgame. You don't always have to be going for a mate. So I hope you enjoyed that game. I really like that game. Make sure you go check it out yourself in your own time, because it is definitely something. The strategy and positional play in that is very, even though it's an engine, you can learn a lot from it. Okay, so let's get on to the real meaty stuff here. We're playing pushing our H pawn. So we've already pushed our pawn to H4 here. I mean, the position's obviously losing, but we're going to talk about how to push our H pawn. So, obviously H5. Let's just maybe show... Okay, so what happens if black plays H5 and stops us? So quite often we'll try and land a piece on the G5 square, or maybe play G4 and sacrifice a pawn to try and bust it open and push through with H5 ourselves. This is often quite a nice square for a piece, and then we'll go after the F pawn, or maybe even the G pawn, or even go after H5. We're just provoking a weakness, so H5 sometimes works, but it's also a target for us. So let's go instead. If we get to push H5, we like pushing H5. Pushing Harry is one of my favourite things to do. I've just made a move for black, just so we can make a move in defence. Okay, so sometimes you'll get G6. So sometimes with it you want to leave the pawn on H5, so you can just put pressure on this way. And then often, remember, with our rook and bishop, this is something you want to do. You want to open up the G file, and by pushing G6, they've made a weakness. You made a weakness on their dark squares. So pushing the H pawn, you will provoke weaknesses in your opponent's position. That's what it's meant for. It's also meant for opening up your rooks. So king f2, so taking, yep, talking about this. Okay, what if they play H6? Well, H6 is quite often the victim of the dark square bishop on C1. He will just sacrifice on H6 quite often to break open the position. Also, if you have a bishop on this line here, the A2 to J8 diagonal, the G6 square becomes quite weak because you've removed one of the defenders of the G6 square, so it's sometimes quite weak. Let's think about what else they can play. I've just made a move for black. If they do nothing and allow us to get to H6, well, they either, like, we're attacking this square, so we're putting pressure on here, which is good. Or they take here, and they've just shredded their king sides, and we're ready to blow it open. Yeah, they don't really want to allow us to play H6. And quite often then they'll play G6 to try and keep it closed, but instead that just opens up this diagonal, and we're entombing the king here. So that's pushing your H pawn. So the G pawn is especially in some of the most recent games, but playing in the Queen's Gambit, you will often push your G pawn on about move 10, because it gives you a lot of attacking opportunities. Sorry, I need to have another drink. Okay, so pushing our G pawn. Get ready to G4. So we often sacrifice this. So if like black did nothing, let's just move the king. We're going to just dislodge the knight, open this up, and try and just ram our pawns down the king's throat. Okay, so sometimes they'll just accept this, and then we'll play rook G1, and again we have our attacking structure. Excuse me. Sometimes they'll play H5, but then we can just kick the knight away with one of our pawns. So yeah, we sacrifice a G pawn to open lines up. That's all we're doing. That's what AlphaZero basically did when they took back here and gave this pawn up. They sacrificed the G pawn, really. Okay, so opening lines is often essential for building up an attack long term. So now I'm going to show a couple of games where we demonstrate this in human games rather than just watching an engine grind it out, even though that was very instructive. Okay, so yeah, so you can still access these games if I go too fast and analyse it yourself in your own time. I'll try and make sure the study is public. So we go Queen's Gambit, like we were saying before. this is, I'm not going to comment on this because this is pretty standard development. Swapping the bishop off. Don't really want to go for bishop f4, I guess, but Sam, if he's watching this, will probably play it because he loves putting the bishop on f4. Queen c2. Again, the queen is on that winning square. Queen c2. We're sort of putting pressure this way, putting pressure down here, long term. Black castles into it. h4, here we go. Our king is safe, so they've just castled. We've got a fair bit of development. I mean, we've still got more development than black here, so why not push Harry? Let's just go. Let's go for it. c5. Very principled response. We're striking back in the centre. When your opponent's playing on the wings, you generally want to play in the centre. Okay. So finishing our development off. Takes. Knight c6. Castling queenside. Okay. So we've gone for a... Generally when kings are on opposite sides of the board, we're going for a big attacking game. Because it's basically, whoever can get to the enemy king first will win. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. a6. I think a6 was marked in the book that I got this from with a question mark, so I will mark this as a mistake. Because a6 is too slow. It's too slow. What does it really do? I guess you're preparing b5, but why not just play b5 straight up? And sacrifice your pawn like we're going to sacrifice our g-pawn, like I suggested. Oh yeah, sorry, I should have introduced this game. This is, you can see it on the left, and this is in the Women's World Rapid. I guess women's games don't get as much coverage. It was actually quite difficult for me to find the PGN for this. Maybe a bit odd. Anyway, g4, smashing through now. We don't care if this pawn gets taken. It's not protected by anything. We just want to open our rook up. We want to throw the g-pawn in. And yeah, I've called h6 a hook. So basically, what it is when you provoke a weakness, sometimes it gives you an opportunity to attack it. So h6 is now when we play g5, we'll be able to open it up because we'll be attacking two things at once. So h6 is a target really for your attacks. Okay, so takes. I mean, I guess what else do you do? You're attacking this pawn 3 times, but boom, g5. Let's get a boom in here. Boom.
Boom.
Forget taking back this. Why would we want to take back on this c pawn? Let's just go for the attack. It's whoever's fastest will win. And black's attack is meaningless. It's just pathetic. So we're just going to go for the attack here. We're going to go. H takes. Okay, I guess you have to play this. And now we've opened the H file. So quite often, if you've got 2 pawns here, you can use one of the files is going to be open. And you've got your open rook here. Very nice. We don't want to take back with the knight, because that just develops the queen for free and removes one of our attacking pieces. We maybe even want to play the rook to g1. And try and bust down this way. Unfortunately, we haven't got our dark square bishop like in the last few games and examples. So it's not there for that purpose, but we can still get our rooks on the open lines. Rooks are really happy when they're on open lines. F5, trying to stop the queen getting to h7, which was a mate threat. So yeah, sorry, I should have said that. We were threatening queen to h7 mate. So that's what f5 does. Knight takes g5. We're finally taking it, and we're finally grabbing back our pawn. Because the e6 pawn is now a massive weakness. Like, if nothing was protecting here, we can take this pawn, because we'll be it's pinned to the king. And we're also developing our bishop, which is probably the only reason why we've taken back this pawn. Only so we can get our other rook to g1. b5, hitting the bishop. Bishop b3, we want to keep the pin. Knight e5, this pin is annoying, let's get rid of it. And rook g1. Okay, there we go. 2 rooks on a nice open line. Queen f6. Knight d5. Okay, yeah, I've given this the next clown. This is a very pretty looking move. But generally, I think there's an adage saying, basically when your position's better, the tactics will flow. So if you've got a nicer position, you will often be able to find good moves. It's just, that makes sense, right? We're attacking the queen, and if you take it, we'll take back with check and pick up the rook. Okay? But they have to take it anyway, because it's just too powerful of a move. Bishop takes back with check, but we're not going for the rook. Watch this. Bishop takes e6. I called this a galaxy brain move. Because what we've realised is, this knight is not undefended. When you're attacking, you always want to be looking for undefended pieces. So, instead of winning the exchange, we're going to go after this knight. Queen yeah, so we're threatening mate again and threatening this knight. Queen e4 check, king a1. You can't save the knight really, because you're still under this mate threat. So they've taken back on d4 and managed to stop the mate threat. There we go, and we picked up our piece. Rook fd8, queen c7, putting pressure on here, and the cheeky back spanker doesn't work. Okay, attacking the queen, get out of town. And now we're going for another check. Now, because we've opened the h-file, we're going to use it. Get the queen on h2. Queen f6. Queen h7. And now we're doing a bit of manoeuvring to throw our rook in there. We want to just add more pieces into the attack, build it up, get pieces in there. And because we've made a weakness on g6, the rook has a nice outpost there. So we're going to use it. Get rid of the queen defending this g-pawn. Maybe we can double up and triple attack it. Yeah. Queen e5. Rook g5 going after the f-pawn. Rook has to defend. And then queen h8 check. And you can't defend this rook. You just can't. It's a nice way to win. Because if you go here, then we're just going to take the pawn on g7 and everything's going to collapse because everything's on these open lines and the rook's going to drop anyway. And then you'll lose it with check. So yeah. So king f7. Queen takes d8 and you just down the rook here and black resigned. A very nice game. All through the pressure we've got from pushing our h and g pawns. So anyone laughing at me for pushing my h pawn, you should be think twice. And I know the lesson's getting a bit long now, but we have our final chapter, which is it wouldn't be a Harry pushing DVD without Simon. So I've got a Simon Williams game to show you, who plays the English. Well, he played the English in a similar way to AlphaZero, and does a lot of the strategies we talked about, and will be a nice way to finish. Okay, I've overanalyzed this game with my basic analysis, so feel free to ignore it. Okay, so knight f3. A lot of English games start with knight f3 because it's just it's a very flexible move order. It's just what it is. c4, e6. Okay, b3. It's a bit different to the AlphaZero one. It's a slightly slower system, but we've instantly got our bishop onto the diagonal here. Contrary to the London system, I believe this is the winning square rather than putting it on f4. Okay, so bishop b7, it's how you develop in a sort of Queen's Indian structure, I guess. Knight c3, c5, e3, we're preparing d4. Bishop e7, yeah, e3 prepares us to expand in the centre, but Simon goes for the g4 boom. I'll get Simon to boom his own own move.
Boom!
Bishop b2 boom. Shut up, Sam. Okay. Gary the G... Yeah, I said Gary the G pawn's having a great time. So what we're doing is we're sacrificing this pawn straight up. We're going to try and make the knight move, or make a weakness and get our rook onto a nice open file. Black has castled into it. That is brave. g5. Okay, so we're making the knight move. You've not gone for our sacrifice, so we're just going to keep giving it to you. Knight e4. Okay, so I've made a positional comment here. This is good for our long-term attacking plan. So one, we've opened the bishop up. But more importantly, I'm just drawing arrows everywhere. What's going on? We've opened the bishop up, but we've removed the knight on f6. And the knight on f6 is a very good defender of the king. But we swapped our c6 knight for the knight on f6. So that's something you want to bear in mind. We've got rid of a defender already. And we're already moving our pieces over to the king side. Okay, so we've got it's just a trade. Rook G1, we're both getting out of the pin, defending our G pawn twice, and getting our rook on the winning line. This strategy is there. If AlphaZero can... Actually, no, I think the Ginger GM did this before AlphaZero made it cool. So, giving Simon credit where it's due. Knight C6, D3. We're making the bishop decide. Do you want to get rid of this knight? Do you really? Bishop G6. Okay, so this bishop is like, oh no. Simon Williams is attacking me here. Harry's definitely coming soon. So yeah, I've wrote a massive comment here. I don't know if you can see it. So even though we're protecting the G-pawn twice, we still want black to take it. We're going to open the lineup. So let's take stock of our position. We've got our bishop and rook in the AlphaZero attacking pattern. We have a very nice G-pawn. Gary's very happy. Our king is super safe, and we can castle in 2 moves if needed. Our bishop on F1 is a bit inactive, so we need to get him in there somehow. And our queen isn't doing great, but she's looking at H5, so I guess that's what she's doing. Okay, for black, they're quite cramped. Quite a lot of times when you're attacking with the G and H pawn, you will see that your opponent is cramped. And that's good for us, because you don't want to be cramped in a chess game. You want space, you want activity in space. So black's position is quite cramped. This bishop is in a bit of danger. To be honest, one of the few ways you can protect it now is by making a weakness with H7 or moving a pawn, really. So what else did I say? Oh yeah, the D4 square would be nice for a black knight, but our nice little E3 move takes away a key square. Yeah, and the queen isn't doing much, the rooks aren't connected, and the question is, how should we continue? Chat, what do you think? How should we continue here? What is the move? Because I think you all know what the move is. You know what I'm going to say. Come on, who can get it first? Who can get it first? I'll have a quick drink while you catch up, because I know there's a bit of a delay. Come on, Sam, what's the move? What's the move, Sam? You know you want to say it. Come on. I know there's someone in the chat. Bishop E2. Bishop E2. Connor, get off this stream right now. Get off. Just go. No, of course the move's H4. Boom. Oh, sorry, I'll get Simon to boom it.
Boom!
We're getting Harry in there. Throw him up the board. Let's try and make this bishop look like a mistake. Let's get in there. D5. I gave D5 an XCOM. It's a very, again, a principled response. When your opponent's playing on the flanks, you want to strike in the centre, because we're still not castled. It could get dangerous. Knight H2. Another great, I think this is a great move, because we're preparing H5, because our queen is now ready to protect the H5 square. So we're threatening to play H5 and make this bishop look a bit sorry. We're also moving our knight from this square to a more aggressive square, which is G4, where we can throw it into H6 and F6. Okay? F5, we do not want to allow the knight in here, and if they play H5, we can drop our bishop back. F4, we're preparing H5 by blocking up and defending our G-pawn. And also, look at this bishop. This bishop is massively open, so you can't even play E5 anymore now that F4's been played, because we'd win a pawn. It's a very, I think F4 is a very good move. Queen D6, we're prepping E5 here. H5, there we go, boom, boom, boom.
Boom!
What do you mean close the tab? What tab? You mean the do you mean the tab with the writing on it? No, I'm reading this. I wrote this before so I can read it. This is my prep. H5, boom. Bishop E8, pretty much the only logical move here, because otherwise you get in G6, ram down you, and then there's no way you're defending this. H6. So yeah, I sometimes be scared of pushing H6, because after G. Oh my god, I forgot about all these arrows. Let's get rid of them. Wait, I can't even get rid of them properly. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. Shut the internet down. It's the best move. Okay, so I'd sometimes be scared of pushing h6 because it allows black to play g6 here, which is our position is now all blocked up and it's difficult to attack. But this bishop on b2 is now an absolute monster, controlling literally every single square on this diagonal. So that's the compensation for blocking up the attack. Somehow you'll try and maybe sacrifice the knight or bishop on here and break through. Maybe break through in the centre as well. Okay, but let's go back to the game. Oh, I might have skipped. So instead of playing g6, they played g takes, which is a very risky move because our rook is on the winning square, our bishop's on the winning diagonal. G takes for check, and the bishops come back to defend. But now you do see the power of these two in this position. Queen h5, bishop can't take because it's pinned to the king. King f7, unpinning, and queen h3. Okay, so we're just getting pieces around the king side. Black's trying to run away. d4, I gave this one an exclam because it's a nice positional move. We're blocking off the bishop. This bishop is too much of a beast. We need to get rid of it. Castles, not e4. If you played e4 there, I think you would have lost this game because now our bishop's crap and it's never getting free. And it undermines our f-pawn as well. So e4, terrible idea, and it's just not in the spirit of the position. Okay, so d4. Castles. Bishop f6. We're trying to oppose this bishop now, which is a smart move. And our other bishop is getting on another nice diagonal. Oof. Rook ad8, getting out of the way. Bishop takes. This knight was protecting the d4 square, so we've decided to undermine it by taking it off. You get rid of the knight, so we can get our bishop back into the game. Queen takes. Knight f3. We weren't going to get to g4, so let's just develop another piece. Let's get our knight into one of these nice new squares. b5. Black's trying to start some semblance of an attack, but it's not going to happen. Pawn takes, and now we are going after this square, because black is wasting a lot of resources protecting this pawn and stopping our bishop from being a monster. So instead, we're just going to let them waste their time, and we're going after a new weakness, e6. King moving out the way. I think that's so you can play like bishop here or something. I don't understand that move as much. Knight e5. We're getting the knight in now. Maybe we're going to swap off this pesky defender. And we're hitting the queen, obviously. Getting the knight into a nice square. Queen d6. I probably would have taken this bishop off because I really want to play h6 here. But I don't think that works because black might hold. So instead we're just going to leave our powerful piece where it is. Rook d2. And we're swinging our rook around onto the g-file again, threatening just to take here and win. a5. Queen here. And then rook takes, a very nice way to win this, because our queen is now got this little square which might come in handy. Knight takes, king there, and then boom! This is I think black resigned here.
Boom!
If you take the knight, you're getting mated. So let's just show that because it is nice. Okay, so our rook is again on the winning square, sorry, and the queen jumped back, and soon we're getting mated, and there we go, mate. And if you did something else that the engine suggested, bishop here, you just take it, and we're up a piece. Well, we're up an exchange, but we've got a lot of pawns, and our position is just, yeah, black's busted. So yeah, that's everything I've got. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I hope it was good content, and I hope it was explained well enough. But yeah, we'll go back to the start. We'll go through what we learned. So yeah, this is a basic attacking strategy that you can implement in your games, trying to open lines up, trying to get pieces aiming at the king, and just long-term pressure, rather than tactics all the time. Tactics will come in a better position, but you have to get into that position in the first place. And generally, this is a nice way to start going about it. I definitely look up some more AlphaZero games because a lot of them feature this structure, and it's really instructive on how AlphaZero absolutely destroys Stockfish. But yeah, this game is the reason I now play the reason I don't play E4 anymore. But yeah, a very, very nice game. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back at 7 to do a stream. Struggled there. I'll be back then to do our tournament at 7, playing some Robert Gillow style chess. I think I'll play H4 on every single move. No, not every single move. I play the H pawn first on every single opening. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please comment on any post in the chat if it was a good lesson, if it was helpful at all. So yeah, I'll see you at 7. Thanks for watching, and I hope this will help you improve your chess.